Hello, everyone. Today is Tech Tuesday, and today I thought what I'll do is with everyone, well, a lot of professionals and people working remotely and kids learning remotely as well. I thought I'll be go over some of the technology and tools that I use in my business, and so I wanted to run through some of them. Mainly, those are four or five items that I think may be basic to some of you, but maybe hopefully you can get something out of what I share with you today, and that's my main goal. All right, so let me share my screen and we'll do a side to side for now. So what we got is real estate tech tools, not specifically real estate related, but this is what I use for my real estate business as well as for my marketing business as well. So let's go over the first one, and I think uh, is your computer laptop. And so some of the stuff might be basic, but I'm gonna assume that a lot of people out there that you don't know much about computers, and so that's where I'm gonna come from. And so the first question is desktop or laptop, um, and that's a matter of preference for some people out there. For me, particularly, I'm more of the desktop, and I have a separate laptop that I use when I need to go meet clients or go outside. Most of the time, I probably end up taking my iPad just because it's in a more sturdier case. But I just prefer to use a desktop because I prefer to have it right there in front of me on my desk. And most of the time, when you have a desktop, um, the price that you pay for a desktop is gonna probably be um, cheaper than if you were to get a laptop. Okay, and then the other question is, do you get a PC or a Mac? And you're gonna pay probably a lot more for a Mac um, than you would do a PC. And so I'm gonna go through some of the things that you, at a minimum, if you're gonna purchase a desktop or a laptop, there's certain things that you need to look at, okay? Because you don't want to be paying you don't want to be paying for something and then ending up later, a couple of years down the road, you need an upgrade or you need a new laptop. And so that's what you want to do. You want to make sure you get the most bang for your bucks when you get it, and then have it last for a while. All right. Um, the other option is if you do get a laptop, then you have the option to make it into a double screen, meaning that you can connect a laptop. You could connect a screen and use it as dual screen. So you could have a laptop right in front of you and then have a bigger screen and use it as a dual monitor. That's another option that you can use. If you're deciding what to get and you're trying to figure out, well, should I get a desktop? Should I get a laptop? Maybe get a laptop so that way you can serve two purposes on in one. Um, my preference, I just like having a desktop because you could probably get more bangs for your bucks for what you pay for. All right. The other question that you may have, and this is something that I'm thinking about right now with my computer right now, is my computer right now. I have a iMac, which is from 2011, and I'm still using it. And whether you need to upgrade or whether you need to um, get a new one. So most instances, if you have a Intel, like if let's so some of you may not know, how do you find out if you have an Intel i3 or i4 or computer chip processor, they call it, and that's what really drives the computer. And so my suggestion is, if you have an Intel i3, most likely you probably want to upgrade to a new computer. And if you have an i5, then you could potentially upgrade the memory. So what I did was I upgraded my memory from 8 to 12, and then right now I'm probably going to upgrade to a hard drive, which is from a road, like I guess they call it a hard drive, and I'm trying to say it in a way that most people know I'm talking about. I'm gonna assume that you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you look at you want to upgrade to an SSD, which is a solid state component. And so, what an SSD is, the way that I would best analogize it is if you look at your iPhone, the iPhone uses what's called solid state uh, capabilities, solid state drive. And so, it's not a hard drive which is rotating, and so it's going to be a lot faster. So, if you were to even upgrade your hard drive on your desktop or laptop to a SSD, you're going to probably increase the speed like 10x 10x your computer capability. And so that's the next probably upgrade that I'm going to do on my iMac, which is still an i5. And let me show you on a PC, the best way to find out whether you have whatever computer chip you have is if you go to your PC on your file file explorer, right click this PC, and then you scroll down to the bottom and it says properties. And if you look at the processor right here, my PC that I have is an i7. Um, and I have 12 gigabytes of memory. And so that's, it's a pretty decent computer for what I do. Now, there are some people that does a lot of high-end like photo editing, things like that, and you may need a faster computer, more memory. For most professionals out there, i7 with minimum 8, you're probably better off with 16 if you can, 16 gigabytes of memory. If you can, I would go with that. On a Mac, what you would do is on the computer. You know what? Let me minimize my screen here so that way you can see it better. So let me go. Oops, wrong way. That's that one right there. Let me go back to this. And so as you can see, if you go to my this PC and then click on the bottom. For those that just joined us on the live cast, just because a lot of us are working remotely, and my kids are all on their Chromebook, for their school learning. I thought it would be best to go over some of the technology that I use for home to make sure that everybody is able to get online. Um, and so right now, what we're talking about is your PC or desktop, and whether to upgrade, to buy a new one. But the most important thing is your processor. Whenever if you do have an Intel i3, I would definitely upgrade and get a new one to at least an Intel i5 chip or an Intel i7 at a minimum. Not at a minimum, but if you can get the i7, i5 at a minimum. And in terms of memory, gigabytes, I would go for more, as much as possible if you can. If you can go for 16, even better. All right. And so if you can see my Mac that I'm still using from 2011 right here is an i5, and I upgraded the memory, and most likely I'm going to upgrade the my hard drive to I'm still working off of, I think, a 1 terabyte hard drive or 500 gigabyte hard drive. I know this stuff is not maybe some people may not think may not be as important, but you know, it is. If you are on your computer a lot and you're doing a lot of work like I am, it is, in my opinion, very frustrating when your computer or technology doesn't work with you. Um, in terms of memory, if you ever are trying to figure out, or maybe you take it to, somebody else and let them do it, but for me, I think it's very simple. If you follow the instruction, it's just a matter of, maybe a screw here and then just replacing components. Um, so for memory, you can go to, there's a website called Critical, no, Critical. You can go to that website, and it's, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Let me see if it's, let's see, what is that website again? It's, you can see this is live, and I am, I think that's it. So most of the time, if I don't know the components that I need, I usually go to this website, and what you can do is you can um, click on upgrade your computer, and it has all of the manufacturers, and you can type in your model number for your computer, whether it's a PC or whether it's a Apple product. You could put it in there, and then it'll be able to find out. You'll be able to find out whatever component that they'll give you the specifics of what you need in terms of the spec. Okay. And then what I usually do is whether I'll compare the price from here and then compare it to Amazon, and then, just order it. I sometimes just order it directly from this manufacturer just because the price is comparable, and you're sure to get the original equipment rather than on Amazon. Sometimes on Amazon you don't know whether it's the original equipment or not, because there's a lot of third-party vendors out there. So that's another thing to consider. And then if you are getting a laptop, especially with an SSD. Now, let me show you what an SSD is. The best way that I can show it to you is if I go to Staples. A lot of times order things from Staples just because certain components or certain products I don't want to deal with returning through Amazon because it's a pain in the butt. So I just get it from Staples, because if I have any issues with it, I can just go to Staples and return it. And usually I order from Staples. I order it directly through when they have deals, weekly deals. Because most weeks they have deals going on, and so you can save a couple $100 getting it when it's on sale. And so just let me show you. Right here. Okay, so let me show you right here. So this computer, this laptop right here, as you can see, is 349. I would avoid this because, first of all, it's a hard drive. You get a lot more space, 1 terabyte hard drive, but it's going to be a lot slower than a solid state drive. And then also it only has 4 GB of memory. And so that's going to substantially slow you down when you're trying to do work. When you're trying to do work, I'm very impatient when it comes to stuff, when you're surfing the web or when you're just opening up documents, things like that. So you want to have something that pulls up pretty quickly. And so let's just go to additional stuff here. Let me just show you. So right here off the desktop, if you look at this now, let's look at this 729. So it's a lot. It's double the price. It's double the price. And so, but it's going to last you a lot longer than if you were to get that 349 laptop. Now this one is a Intel i7 right here, and right here it has 512 GB of SSD. Now let me see if I can zoom it up here. Let's see if I zoom it up here. And it also has 16 GB of memory. So this computer right here is going to last you a lot longer than that computer. That computer is going to probably last you a couple of years. This one's going to last you a long time, assuming you don't drop the laptop. That's what happened to one of my laptops. I dropped it. Um, and so I would definitely go for that. Now, if you want to, if that's not within your budget, then what you would go for is probably oops, I don't know why this is giving me a hard time here. Let me just refresh this page. Sometimes the page just does not cooperate. So, all right. So, oh, you know why? It's probably because I maximized the view. Oops, let's go back. Sorry about that. All right. So right here, this is not cooperating. All right, here we go. So this right here is i5 right here, and this is an i5 over there. So it's about $100 or less. Now this one right here, you're looking at, this is a hard drive. So I would definitely, especially for laptop, because if you're thinking of using it at home, you may need the storage. If you do need the storage, then I would try to, work with a external hard drive. But definitely, SSD is the way to go because it's a lot faster. So I would, if a difference of $100, I would just go for the i7. This one you can see it's an i5. This one's a little nicer because it has that flip, and you could use it as I think it's probably touch. You could probably touch. It's a touch screen, and so it's probably, for those that like touch screen, you can use that. So for those that just joined us, just talking about some computer stuff, technology stuff, especially with you know everybody working from home. My kids, all three of them are on their either iPad, Chromebook, or laptop. My oldest is on a laptop. Um, so definitely i5 at a minimum, i7 preferable. Try to go a minimum 8 GB hard drive, 16 if you can. Where do you buy them? Let's just go. I prefer to get certain stuff from Staples when it's on sale. Um, Certain components like memory, hard drive, the SSD, you could probably get it from Amazon. But most of the time, Staples, I think, generally tends to have comparable prices. It might be a little slightly more, but that's where I get it from if I need it right away and I don't have the patience to, or if I need it immediately, then I just go get it. It's a lot easier to exchange from Staples. All right. So we talked about computers, laptop. If you have any questions, write your questions below, and I will try to. I'll definitely answer them. This is a screenshot of my PC that I have down here. And this is a screenshot of my iMac that I have. And it's still from 2011. The PC that I have, that's a more recent one. And I'm still working off an i5. It's 12 gigabytes of memory. And I probably would replace it with an SSD, and that's going to make it 10x faster. Because right now, when I boot up the computer, it's so painstakingly slow. But I just don't have the time, because an iMac, if I wanted to get it right now, it's going to probably cost me, $2,000. And I'm just frugal when it comes to things like that. I just like getting good deals. I don't know, for those that are uh, techie like me. So the router. Now, why is the router so important? It's important because for those that have files, I have files. The router that they come up, they can't that comes with files. It's it stinks. It's not that great, I think. The range is pretty bad. Whereas I've tried a lot of different routers that the lower end, maybe around 40, $50, and I wasn't happy with it. And I always ended up, it broke or it just didn't do what it was supposed to. And so I decided to go spend a little bit more money, and I got this Netgear Nighthawk. And I got to tell you, it's really, really reliable. And the other thing is, would you go wired or Wi-Fi? Some people may not have the option to go wired. When um, we renovated the house, I made sure that I wired all the rooms and and put Ethernet wires, Cat 5e on all of the. Um, you'll probably get better, faster speed on Wi-Fi than wired, but wired is going to be more consistent. And so, if I do, let's say right now, I am on a right here Netgear, which is 5G. And if I do a speed test, and I'll show you, let's do a speed test right now on my router. It's on 5G. So right now my files is at 200 download, 200 upload. This morning it was at two like 50. So right now, as you can see, it's a lot less because probably there's a lot of bandwidth going on. And also, I tend to notice that maybe there's other my neighbors, maybe there's noise. that's conflicting or causing some, I guess, what do you call it? Disruption, and so that sometimes tends to slow it down. Let me go to my regular, let's see, Netgear 5, let me see, without the 5G. And then, oops, I shouldn't have done that. I hope I didn't get off. Oh no, I am still wired, and so you should still be able to see me. So right now I am on, um, without, on, not on 5G, but regular. And let me do a test again, and I'll show you the difference between the 5G and, as you can see, it's a lot slower. Okay, so if you're not on 5G, it's a lot slower. And the router is right above me in the living room, in my living room. And so it's a lot, yeah. So it's about, downloads about 50, 49, and then upload is 76. And then what I'll do is I'll compare that. I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi off, and then I will test it right now. So I am on wired, and so wired was before about 90 when I checked this morning, and so let's just check. So right now, it's consistent. So wired for me is very consistent. It's a little bit far because it's on the other end of my house, and so I got the wire going all the way, but it's consistent at 80 to 90 to 100 consistently. Whereas wireless it fluctuates. And so if you can try to use wired, especially if you're using Zoom. I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zoom with my remote team. I am on Zoom with meeting clients, potentially meeting, doing deals and things like that. And so important to have a good router. All right. So let me move this over here, and then also the other thing to consider is my son has a laptop, and my other son has a Chromebook, which he gets from school. And so rather than them using the Wi-Fi, I have them plugged into the wired connection using, here, let me show you this. This is the router. The Netgear router has, so going back to, sorry about that. Going back to the different Netgear router, there is different kinds. I think the one I have is the lowest one. I may increase it to the 1900, but the price ranges from $86 all the way to $279. Now this is, if I had a choice, I would probably go for the AC9 1900 right here. But the one I think I have is a 1750. And what I like about it is that it comes with, the back of it has a wire connection built into it, so that if you wanted to connect, because we have it right in our living room, and we also have it connected directly to our Roku, which is our, the streaming TV. Everything's streaming in our household. So I like having everything plugged in. It's just more reliable and faster. So it's connected directly on top, and so that way my son could hook up his Xbox, his toys, whatever, and we have our streaming devices as well. All right. Okay. So then, as I was talking about, this device right here is what's called a USB-C. Now, for those that don't have, certain computers have what's called a USB-C. It's a smaller plug. This is the USB 3.0. So on my son's Chromebook, does not have the USB-C. It has a USB 3.0 USB plug, and so he plugs that in to his Chromebook, and then right next to him is a wire connection, and so we just connect the wired internet right into that, and so he has wired access. Because what I noticed was when he was on his Chromebook on his Google Meet at school, his teacher was saying that he was kind of lagging and freezing up, and so I tested his Wi-Fi, and for some reason it was very inconsistent. And so we plugged him in directly using this USB to Ethernet. And then my other son has this USB-C because his laptop supports has that USB-C connection. All right. All right. So I think that's pretty much covers for the router. And the next item is the printer. Now, why some people may you know uh, printer, I think, is something important because I do a lot of printing and I also scan a lot of documents, and so that's another consideration. And then now with the kids needing to print stuff for their school, we ended up also getting a color printer. So with regard to printers, I recommend that you do not get the inkjet. I'm not a big fan of inkjet. If you do a lot of photo printing, inkjet is probably the way to go with those special paper. But um, you know, you could always go to CVS and just print out photos, in my opinion. So I'm not a big fan of inkjet because the printer might be cheaper, but the ink is a lot is expensive. And if you do a lot of printing, it's I think it's not cost efficient. Um, for most people, black and white monocolor is probably the way to go. But if you're a professional, real estate professional, you need to scan a lot of documents. I would definitely go for one that has a document feeder. The more paper, the better. I've had the MFC 780 784 7840W for over 10 years, and it's still working to this day. The only thing I would recommend that you use the original Brother toner, because if you get the other brands, you're gonna mess up your printer. Not other brand, like third-party brands, or brands that are cheaper. I would not. I would stick with the original Brother toner, and I've had this toner. I had this printer for over 10 years. And so the newest brand is what's called the 2710 W. And I think they're around, let's see here, it's around 200 bucks. Um, totally worth it. And it comes with the document feeder, and because I do a lot of scanning, I scan a lot of documents um, with with contracts and things like that. And so um, you don't want to be lifting paper and scanning. That's not what you want to do. You want to be able to put a bunch of documents, put your contract in, scan, and then be done with it. Now, what I like about the Brother printer is that it comes with Paperport. For those that don't know, Paperport makes, let me get rid of this. I just realized, my bad, this caption right here. Um, Paperport is a software that comes with Brother, and it enables you to scan. It's a document management system. But what I like it is that it makes it easy for you to scan into a PDF document. And one thing I would note is that if you do use Paperport for black and white, you probably need to just scan it at 200 DPI or 300 DPI. You don't need to. What I've seen a lot of people do is they scan it and they scan it grayscale or color. Okay, that just makes the file size a lot bigger than it should be. If you scan it black and white, 200 DPI, the scan's going to go a lot faster. It's going to scan a lot quicker, and the file size is going to be a lot smaller. And so that way you can send it off to people. All right. And then the color printer, we got this M281 maybe about 2 years ago. Paid about 600 bucks about. The only thing that I want to mention about the color printers is that the toners are expensive. And you need 4 of them. And so there's different, like black. I forgot the other 3 other colors, but you do need 4 of them, and they do tend to run out. Because they're a smaller cartridge than what you would get with a black and white mono printer. All right. So if you do feel like you're going to be using a lot of color printing or do a lot of color printing, it's something that is not really a necessity, but it's nice to have. Sometimes I do want to print something out a brochure or something that I want to give to my clients, then I print it out and give it to them. So it's nice to have. All right. Um, the next is webcam. Very simply, a webcam. Logitech. I've always had Logitech. I had previous to this one that I'm using right now is the Logitech C920. The one I had before was a 720 or 730. I don't remember exactly. I still have it, but I don't know where it is. It's probably lost in my house. My son's probably using it. And the Logitech 920, that's what I've been using, and it works really well. And with regard to my headset, now I do have this right here. I just haven't had a chance to hook it up, and I haven't had a chance to test it out. I've been using this because this is what I use to communicate with my team. I'm on Zoom a lot of times, and I'm also on my phone talking with clients and talking. I have an IP phone right next to me. It's a Polycon, um, and so I can. It works. I have it connected together so that I used to have a phone and I used to have it on my shoulder, and it was just a pain. So I decided to get this, which is the Plantronics Blackwire 520. And because the ability to have it used together with my computer and my IP phone, I just tend to just use this a lot. I have this Audio Technica microphone that I should connect when I do my live cast, but that will be in the future. As I'm in the next couple of months, I'm going to be upgrading my setup here. So hopefully, just bear with me as I do that. All right. If you have any questions for those that let me just get rid of this screen. For those that join me, I just talked about a bunch of stuff with computers, printers, routers, my webcam, what I'm using for my headset, just because I just want to kind of give you a walkthrough some of the setup that some of the tools that I use for my business, just because everybody's working from home, and also with my kids upstairs on their Chromebook and laptop. Just want to make sure that everybody in our household doesn't have any issues getting online. All right. I hope this was helpful. Leave any comments that you may have, and if you want to check out all the other resources that I use for my business as well as for my home, it's realestatelife360.com/resources. All right. And also, if you want to follow me, you can follow me. Oops, right here. That is my profile name. The real estate community that I have is Real Estate Life 360. And then my profile, if you find me on social media, is Paul Wycombe 360. And then also, if you have any questions, whether it's tech related, real estate related, or online marketing related, you can email me at paul@paulwycombe.com. And I want to thank you for watching this, and I will see you this coming Thursday for our weekly tutorial. So every Tuesdays and Thursdays I have Tech Tuesdays and uh, Tutorial Thursdays. And then also coming up for those that are investors, if you are an investor, and I'm holding my first monthly meetup. If you go to realestatelife360.com and go to learn, and right there should be a link. I'm gonna also put the link also there. Actually, I'm gonna put it up right now. Monthly meetup. This is something I'm gonna try out. I'm trying out for the first time. It's ariel360.net, and then it's meetup. Okay, and I'll show it right now. So it's actually it's without the www. It's REL. The best way to do it is to go check out realestatelife360.com. Go to the link on Learn, and then right below it there should be a link to sign up for our monthly meetup which is next Tuesday from 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 o'clock Eastern time. And so hopefully you can join me during that session. And I'm going to be talking about foreclosures and short sales. And I think I'm going to give you some lead generation tips as well as some um, resources and market update as it relates to the market with foreclosures and short sales. All right. Thank you for watching and thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, like I said, email me or write on, uh, put in the chat session below. All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.